Good morning, all. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 8th of July. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own shots, and I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at ctmthebiggerpicture.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of a week. Right, I wrote a post on oil yesterday about the rise in the oil price, which obviously has been pretty significant. This was on the pre-market review yesterday morning. I was talking about this IHS here, and oil was about here, and obviously you can see it's gone up a lot in the meantime. So that's the Brent price. WTIC's gone up a lot as well, and it appears at the moment that, subject to news and fake ceasefires and whatever, which we've seen a lot of all along, and we will see whether how many more we get. There's no particular reason to think that it's not going to continue. But obviously we had big US attacks on Iran last night. We had Iran counterattacked, and the key thing I'm looking at here is this is one of the best analysts as an Israeli, basically talking about what on earth do the Americans want, and in terms of where the US stands at the moment, what Trump has said when he is, oil prices jumped nearly 6% after Trump declared the interim agreement with Iran was over. I think the exact words he used were, hang on, wait a second. POTUS on the state of Iran. This was about an hour and a half ago. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. Let's go. So that's where we are at the moment. I think, honestly, the memorandum's been on life support for a while, and that's mainly because the key things, there were two key things. One, Israel was supposed to stop attacks, and obviously they haven't. And two, it was very clear in the memorandum of understanding that the Strait of Hormuz was going to remain under Iranian control, and the Americans have not been accepting that. That really was likely to end the ceasefire. I think the ceasefire is ending. I think we might have it restored a couple of times before it finally ends, but I think it's likely on the way out, and war is likely to resume. That is likely to cause a big problem. World reserves of oil are very low, and we will see. All right, in the short term, this is not great news for markets. We're currently, at the time of speaking, we're down 68 on ES, and we're actually breaking down from a little level top here. Now that could reject back up into the highs, but this has a target basically at a retest of the late June lows, and potentially lower. And one thing I was talking about, and I've been talking about for couple of weeks now, is that overall I'm seeing a likely bull flag forming here, and we could expand lower to form a larger flag, in which case first target would be a retest of the late June low, then there would be a retest of the early June low, and we might well go lower than that. That would still likely be, in my view, a bull flag forming, although obviously, as we know, not all bull flags break up. They break down about 30% of the time. Now, there were basically two double bottoms here that broke up at the same time and in late June. One was a double bottom on ES, which made target, and another was a double bottom on NQ, which failed yesterday and never got close to target. Now, this kind of encapsulates one of the big problems, and the reason we haven't seen high retests on tech and, well, on ES and NQ in recent weeks, and that is that tech has been pretty weak and has been the weakest of the indices over the last 3 weeks. That is an issue. And that is dragging us down. You can see that NQ has already retested that late June low and gone below it. I've got some ideas about where this might be going. I've got a trend line here that might be a target here in about the 27,800 area, and we will see where this goes. But at the moment, well, we've got a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing, and there are rumors that a fake ceasefire will be leaked to Axios fairly soon. No doubt with the right people being positioned for a rally in equities and a decline in oil? If so, then obviously it's hard to say where this goes today. It's possible this buy signal will fix and make target, but if we don't see that, then we're probably going to see more downside. On RTY, we've got a double top which is broken down with a target, basically a target at a retest of this low here, although it could well go lower. But I've got the main targets in the 29.10 to 14 range, but obviously we've got some support here up here at about the 29.27 area. Looking at YM, no obvious topping pattern here, but I do have some resistance on the bigger picture, which I'm looking at. On DAX, we have gone back, retested a high, and we have seen a big decline. Obviously, there is a large potential double top here. ESTX, we've seen a big decline as well. No current positive divergence on either. Nikkei, we had a buy signal fix overnight, and that's very, very, very close to failing and may fail. It was actually a very nice bull flag, and at the moment, this is breaking down. It could be expanding potentially into a larger flag, or it may actually just be breaking down, and we'll have more of an idea of that by the end of the day. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Okay, looking at ES. ES has been holding well above the daily middleman. If this war hadn't broken out again, I'd have been looking for a retest of the high. As it is, we'll have to see. But I'll be watching particularly the daily middle band on ES today, and I've got that currently in the 74.99 area. Is that going to hold by the end of the day, or is it not? We shall see. But basically, we need to drop by over 100 to break it into the close. In terms of SPX, pretty much the same. I've got the middle band there at the 74.36 area. That would actually only need to break. That would actually only need to close down basically slightly lower than we are here right now, and that would break it. But obviously, we've got the 50 DMA supporting it just below in the 7400 area. In terms of the hourly chart, not a lot to see. In terms of the 15-minute chart, we had a 15-minute sell signal here, which made target yesterday. Nothing current. Looking at the Qs, we haven't managed to get back over the daily middle band and sustain trade above it. And we closed below it yesterday. We're going to go lower today. I've got the 3SD lower band in the 682 area, and I'd be looking for some support there if it is reached. But if we get there, then we would be retesting this early June low. In terms of the hourly chart, not a lot to see. 15-minute chart, not much to see either. Looking at Dow, Dow has been the strongest in recent weeks, but I was talking about this trend line here. We've actually gone to it and overthrown it. The question is this trend line going to hold? If the trend line is going to hold, then there's a very obvious target, which is the wedge support here, which is currently in the 515 area. We will see whether we go there. But I'm thinking if we see a decent decline today, then that might well be the target. Nothing really in terms of the divergence on the hourly and 15-minute charts. I've got a different wedge here from the March low on the 15-minute chart, and I've got that support in the 515 area. Is that the same as the yeah, it was. It's the same trend line. Sorry, same wedge. I'm going to be looking to see whether this wedge has expanded, but that's going to take more of a look, and I'll have a look over the next couple of days. So we will see, but I'm thinking that obviously there is a pretty clear target below. In terms of IWM, we've got on the daily chart, we are going to be testing the daily middle band at the open today in all probability. We've still got RSI 14 sell signals fixed across the board. We might be about to make those, see those make target. But if so, we're going to need to break some daily middle bands and potentially some support trend lines here. I've got the support trend line on IWM at about the 288 area. Looking at the hourly, not a lot to see. 15-minute here. We're looking basically at two patterns here. I've got the first support in about, actually this is looking like about 291, 292. And then if that broke, then I've got the bigger support trend line down here at about the 257 area. Looking at DAX, we have a very nice looking double top here. Not saying that's going to play out, but if the war continues and just straight up continues, then actually all sorts of things are back on the table and we might well see that play out. We will see how that goes. No current divergence on the daily chart. In terms of Nikkei, Nice looking bull flag here, but it does look as though we've seen a break back below the daily middle band, which hadn't broken before the close yesterday. And we will see how this goes now, because I'm thinking that if that's breaking down, then the next obvious target is this rising support trend line here in the 66,500 area. All right, now last time we had, previously, when we have seen the war flare up again, we have seen a strong dollar and weak bonds, and obviously strong oil. And weak precious metals. So far, that's what we're seeing since yesterday. Looking at the dollar first, this looks like a bull flag, and if this war isn't going to suddenly end today, and obviously, generally speaking, it ends on a Sunday, but then it doesn't usually get started on a Tuesday. So this is very much. I was thinking about using a title of Weekend Warriors. I'm talking about this war being mainly fought at the weekends for while the markets are closed. This is obviously an exception to that. So the question is whether we're going to see that break down today and maybe resume at the weekend, or whether this is going to go through the weekend. So still waiting to see, but as long as this is continuing, I'm lining up a retest of this high here, and we may well be starting another leg up. In terms of the euro, this looks like a bear flag forming, bear flag megaphone trying to break down. GBP USD, this may be a bear flag here too, didn't quite make it to the double bottom target. USD JPY, looking for a retest of this high here. Obviously, we've long since seen the main retest of 162, but we've got quite a lot of open space above. USD CAD, this looks like a bull flag as well. Could be a bear flag on Australian dollar, could be a bear flag on NZ. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. US dollar. We've seen a bit of a retracement here. We've retested the daily middle band as we did on the last little retracement. So would this be a good place to start another leg up? Yes, it would. And if the war is, if basically military operations intensify over the next couple of days, then we might see a decent move getting us towards our target in the 104.57 to 105.23 range. So I'm thinking, looking at the last wave up, we could potentially get up to 103, maybe a little more. We will see how that goes. In terms of bigger picture, of course, we've got the big bull flag, and the next obvious target would be the flag resistance in about the 107 area. And this bull flag potentially could take us back into the 114.79 area. And I think that is potentially on the table. When we saw that, of course, we were in the grip of 22. Yeah, I mean, we were sort of we just started shortly after the Ukraine war started, and sort of big flight to the dollar. We may well be seeing the same thing again. We've got a matching big bear flag on euro, of course. We've got a matching big flag on GBP, of course. In terms of the daily charts, no current divergence on the euro, and I am wondering about this being a possible flag, but really, bigger picture, we've broken down for a double top with the target in the 110.19 to 108.55 area. Looking at GBP, we've got a rising wedge here, which hasn't broken down yet, but if we do, we've got a large double top there with support in about the 130 area. USD JPY, we retested the high at 162, which is something I've been talking about for months, possibly the end of a year, actually. So we've done that. We've got some open space above up into about 169, which could be used. Anything more than that, I'd be getting a little concerned about my very nice rising megaphone stroke big bear flag. In terms of the daily chart, no current divergence. But we will be setting some up when we retest this high here at 162.84. Looking at USD CAD, we've got open territory up to about the 148 area where we've got a current ceiling. That could be broken as and when we reach it, but at the moment I'm just looking for it to go up and reach that area. In terms of the daily chart, no current divergence, but when we retest the current high at 1.4248, we will be setting up a potential daily sell signal there too. Australian dollar, just got a double top here, which is close to breaking down, but hasn't broken down yet. This could be a part-formed head and shoulders. We could be forming a right shoulder here, but I'm leaning against that. No current divergence on the daily chart. NZ, obvious next target would be down here at about the 0.55 area at trendline support. We will see how that goes. Not really got any topping patterns here to be looking at. All right, great. Let's have a look at bonds. Okay, ZB, this had a nice looking double bottom set up. It had a 60-minute buy signal fixed. We had some indication on the bigger picture charts that we might be seeing some more upside, but it's gone the other way. And since the Iran wars got restarted again, this has continued down. We still have a 60-minute buy signal fixed on both ZB and ZN. And I would say that if we didn't already have one fixed here, we would have another one brewing here. And the same goes for ZN. So I'm still wondering about a rally here, although bigger picture. These are both rising wedges. They're both very possible bear flags, and they're both broken down. And the obvious target for a flag would be a retest of this May low on ZB and the May low on ZN. So I'm thinking we might see a bit of a rally here, but bigger picture, I'm leaning towards the downside. All right, looking at the bigger picture, TYX. The head and shoulders here has not quite failed, but it has failed. All right, TYX, this head and shoulders has failed, so that gives us a target at 51.97. Looking no divergence, we had an RSI 5 buy signal, and that has made target. All right, and then some. All right, looking at TNX. TNX, we've got flag breaking up. We've tested the weekly middle band, and the next obvious target is a retest of 46.83. Nothing contradicting that on the daily chart, and where we are back over and have converted the daily middle band to support. And on the hourly chart, we've got a bit of negative divergence, but we may well just go through it. FVX, we've been forming what looks like a bull flag since we broke up from the triangle here. That's got an open target up here at 49.88. Looking at TLT, TLT on the daily chart, we had an RSI 5 sell signal fix, and that has made target and then some. We had an inverse head and shoulders which broke up, and that hasn't failed yet, but it's not far away from failing. If it fails, that'll have a target at a retest this low here at 82.143. All right, let's have a look at the oil charts. All right. Now, I was looking at some neckline, potential IHS necklines here. We broke up from those. I could treat these as asymmetric double bottoms, but they're not really good enough. I am wondering whether we might go higher into these higher necklines here, which are in basically the 81.5 to 82.5 area. But there is a case for failing at the overnight high so far. We've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing here. It wouldn't take an awful lot to lose that. We will see how that goes. CL, again, broke beyond the obvious IHS neckline area. This retracement was not enough really to give us a neckline, in my view. I am wondering about moving up towards these alternate trend lines here at about the 88.5 to 78.5 to 79.5 area. We've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. I've got more to say about this on the daily chart. On HO, we have been going higher, and we're getting pretty close to the target in the 3.47 area. RBOB, not really got a decent pattern here, so I haven't drawn one in. NG is not because of the straight of moves, because it's pretty obvious this isn't really connected, but this is proceeding higher at the moment. All right, let's have a look at the oil charts, where looking at the odds of the straight moves returned to normal by July the 31st. This was at 26% before the MOU was signed. It reached 63% after it was signed, and is now back at 5%, which is obviously very low. Optimism is not high about that happening. Right, so let's have a look at Brent. Now, we had hourly buy signals here with those made target. We have broken over the first declining resistance, which I was thinking might hold, and we've got a possible 60-minute sell signal, which is brewing. And it's a full-size one. In terms of the daily chart, if we close today at the current level, which would be important to finish off this buy signal, then this daily RSI 5 buy signal will make target. The weak RSI 14 buy signal has fixed. I was talking about resistance here, potential resistance here at the 200 DMA and the daily middle bands. I've got the 200 DMA at 78.63, and I've got the middle band is at 78.73, 200 DMA is at 78.63, so they're almost exactly at the same level, and we are testing that level. This is possible resistance. I mentioned it yesterday in my post, and this is one of the levels I was thinking that might be resistance. We've got a 60-minute sell signal brewing here. I am wondering about resistance here, but we might need a fake peace deal to cement that. In terms of the W-tick chart, I was talking about resistance here at the 200 DMA and slightly higher at the daily middle band. We are testing the daily middle band at the high. And again, this is the first decent resistance being hit and being tested, and it could hold, and we do have some hourly negative diversions. This is a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing. We haven't quite made it to the declining resistance trend line, which I'm looking at. We shall see how that goes, but I'm thinking this is definitely an area that may hold, and if we have an announcement shortly that the ceasefire is back on, then obviously we could see a pullback from there. But it wouldn't, in my view, obviously be forming a right shoulder, although it could be setting up a retest of the low, set up a double bottom there for a larger pattern, for a larger move. In terms of heating oil on the daily chart, we have no current divergence. We've broken back over the daily middle band. Hourly chart, hourly chart, no current divergence. No, we actually got a possible weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing here, so that adds to the other two. In terms of gas oil and heating oil haven't gone up as much as the others, partially because, of course, they didn't go down as much as the others. Nothing on the hourly chart on gas oil, still kind of looks like a bear flag. We will see how it goes. We are back over the daily middle band as well. All right, looking at natural gas. Natural gas, we are still waiting to see whether or not the 200 DMA is going to hold resistance. Ideally, if it's going to fail, we would retest this high here at 3.38, and then it would fail from there. We shall see how that goes. But I'm quite liking the fail setup here, and it's a better fit with the overall picture. But if we can break and convert this 200 DMA to support, that opens up higher targets. We shall see. All right, great. Let's have a look at precious metals. All right, GC. We've got a double bottom that's broken up with a target in the 42.35 range to 42.35 to 42.50 range. This at the moment looks like a bull flag forming, but I would say I'm a bit cautious because, of course, when we've seen big moves up on oil in the Iran complex so far, we've seen moves down on GC. So I am wondering if this is going to break down into a retest of this low. Although that would probably just be setting up a nice larger double bottom. SI, this looks like it was a bear flag forming, and it looks like that bear flag is breaking down. That is very much indicating that we may well see a retest of the low. Palladium kind of looks like a bear flag, hasn't broken down yet. Platinum might be a bear flag too, or it might be a small double bottom breaking up. HG, not reacting a bit here, coming back towards a retest this low. We still do have an open double top target in the 5.66 area. If we see a sizable decline on equities here, then I'd be looking for that very possibly to make target. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. All right, let's look at gold first. Bear with me a moment. All right, gold. We've got an RSI 5 daily buy signal fixed, and that has now reached the possible near miss target. We're failing at the daily middle band, and this actually is all suggesting that we may well see a retest of this low. If we're going to see this war last more than a few hours, then that looks extremely doable. Silver, we've got a falling channel here, and we've come back and we've tested channel resistance perfectly. This is suggesting a retest of the low here at 55.57. It's suggesting we could see a test of this support here in the 50 area. This could all be part of a larger bull flag, which hasn't failed yet. And let's have a look. I was treating this bull flag as having broken up. Has it still broken up? We haven't reached the obvious trend line support yet, but we could. So I'm drawing that in. That would have a target in about the 53 area. And if we do that, then I'll be treating this as a larger flag. But it would still be a likely bull flag. That would be the resistance trend line. So I'm just going to dot those. All right, that's the potential larger flag we could be forming, and that's what I'd be treating as an expansion if we reach it. All right, looking at palladium. Palladium, no current positive divergence. Wedge, we've reached wedge resistance. Appears to have gone marginally through it, but it's not any kind of a confirmed break. Hang on, wait a second. It has gone up slightly through it, and this could be this could be a slight break before we do a retest of the low and set up a double bottom. We have actually got an acceptable double bottom here already, but we may well be seeing a retest of the low there too. In terms of the platinum chart, we've got a possible daily RSI 5 buy signal brewing already. We will see. In terms of a bottoming pattern here, probably improved by retest this low here at 1553.20. In terms of copper, we've got this little level top which is broken down, and if we're going to see a pullback on equities and a move up in oil and so on, then this would be a good time to go down and make that target. In terms of GDX, nothing really on the daily chart, but obviously I have been talking about a not having retested this low here at 73.43 yet, and I'm quite liking that if it can be done. It could set up a much better looking double bottom, and the GDXJ equivalent would be at 94.33. In terms of the hourly charts here, not a lot to see. Possible daily, hourly RSI 5 bicycle brewing on GDXJ and GDX, but it's not really an awful lot. Really, I'd quite like to see a retest of these lows, and I'm thinking we might well be about to see that. All right, let's have a look at the other commodities. Right, coffee. Coffee, we've seen a very big move up, and we're seeing a sharp retracement at the moment, but I am thinking we may well see more upside. After this retracement is finished, we shall see. No current divergence. SB, 60-minute sell signal fixed, not delivered anything so far. Double top here looks a lot less impressive than it did yesterday. CC is going a bit higher. We've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing and a little double top here. Might be setting up for a back test of the weekly pivot at 5037. Lumber still looks like a bear flag forming. Cotton, this little IHS broke up and made target. Could all of this be a larger bear flag forming? Yes, it could. This would be the support trend line right here. Let's have a look at resistance. It's looking pretty good, actually. So could this be a bear flag megaphone? Yes. Am I wondering about a strong reversal to take it back into a retest of this low? Yes, I am. So I'm going to draw that in, and we will see how that gets on. But that actually looks pretty convincing. Could we see a retest of the high here, set up a 60-minute sell signal, a little level top, and break down? Yeah, actually that would be my preferred way of doing it. CW, we've seen a strong move up, and we are testing this resistance level and possible double bottom resistance. No conviction break above it yet. Corn. Don't really have an obvious pattern here. 60-minute sell signal is fixed. Might see a retrace soon. Soy. 60-minute sell signal fixed, possible short-term topping action after a big move up. ZL, testing double bottom resistance, no break above it yet. Weak 6-minute bicycle has reached a possible near miss target. Live cattle, as I said, this stopped being a flag when we went down below the monthly pivot, really. No current positive divergence. HE, this looks very, very much like a bear flag, and that's because it likely is a bear flag. Actually, let's just draw, I've got that line drawn slightly wrong. Bear with me a moment. All right, doesn't change the quality of that trend line. Just makes it a little closer. All right, that's a pretty nice looking bear flag, and shuts it off. That's exactly what it is. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture. All right, looking at coffee. Coffee, we've seen a big rally here. We're seeing a bit of a pullback, but it is a big rally. This is probably only slightly over 50% back from here, but it does have me wondering about a possible high retest. This is a strong move. Really, it's gone up almost 50% from this low here at 241. In terms of the weekly chart, no current divergence. In terms of the daily chart, we had a sell signal here and it failed, and we've had another one form. Let me just check. Sorry, let me just check the highs on here. Wait a second. There it is. All right, we have another one fixed here. We've got a second RSI 5 sell signal fixed, and I'm thinking this one's got a shot. We will see how that goes, but that is suggesting we will see more downside short term. Although I would note as a cautionary note that the last one of these was pretty decent too and fell. And that was, hang on a second. Sorry, that's just not been in there. That was the signal here, which formed, fixed, and failed immediately. This was a pretty wild move. So we will see how it goes from here, but I'm thinking we may well retrace, possible we even do a retest of the low. That's the thing about 50% retracements. Come back and retest the low, find support there, and you've got a double bottom that can take you back to the highs. We will see how this develops. All right, looking at the sugar charts, we've got a nice looking falling wedge here, and it's broken up. Finally, I'm looking for a reversal pattern to form, and I'm wondering whether we might see a retest this low here at 1334 to set up a nice looking double bottom. Do we have any negative divergence here? We do. We've got a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing here. And I'm wondering if that might deliver that low retest. In terms of cocoa, again, very strong rally here. This is up. This is doubled. From this low here at 28.46. So that is a very impressive move. We've seen some wild moves on cocoa over the last couple of years, but this is the first wild bull move we've seen in a while. We will see how that's going. In terms of the daily chart, we could have easily set up negative divergence on the RSI 14, but we haven't. But we do have a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing on the daily chart, which I'll be keeping an eye on. We've also got some resistance above. I've got possible IHS necklines in this area, basically from 64.41 to 66.27, and I'm wondering whether we might hit that area, which we haven't quite yet, and then do a right shoulder retracement. Looking at lumber, we've still got a very nice looking overall bear setup, and heading down to the 352 area, and as ever, I'm wondering whether we're going to live long enough to see it. We could set up a nice looking daily RSI 14 sell signal with a retest this high here at 638, but it's kind of looking like a bear flag at the moment, so we shall see. Cotton, nice rally here. We will see how that goes. Might be returning back to the highs, but short term, I'm wondering about obviously a bit of retracement and maybe more. In terms of the daily chart, nothing really to see on the divergence. On the weekly chart, we've still got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. We could well be forming a head and shoulders here. You can see it, and I've drawn in. Have I drawn that in? No, I haven't. But would it be oversized? Let's just spend a moment looking at it. Doesn't look like it. No. We've got a. This would be the neckline here, and it's a nice one. We've broken up from a double bottom, but quite often when you see a reversal pattern fail, another reversal pattern will form in the opposite direction. In terms of targets here, yeah, it's a bit oversized. Really, the extension target would be down here. But it's still pretty decent looking, and I'm wondering about it. But if we were going to reverse back down, this would be the obvious place to do it. Ideal right shoulder high would actually be at about 625, and we've made it up to about 619. Looking at corn, testing, we're back over the weekly middle band. We are very much back over the daily middle band. And the RSI 14 buy signal has not reached the possible near-miss target yet. I am wondering, with the strength of these moves, whether we might be looking at a more general breakup. Possible IHS still forming on soy, and we've now made a better right shoulder for it, and I'm thinking that may break up. we will see. Daily chart, no current divergence. The weak RSI 5 buy signal has made target, and the weak RSI 14 buy signal has also made target. All right, let's finish off with a look at crypto. And crypto, of course, also has a way it tends to behave with the Iran war on, and so far we'd looked at declines. Now, yesterday I was speculating in my pre-market webinar on crypto that this could be a double top setting up a retest this low. I'm still thinking that is the case, and it's looking considerably better now, and it's broken this rising support trend line. I was also wondering whether this might be a bear flag setting up again a retest of the low. So I think we've got an important day or two here. We will see how that develops, but I'm liking the retest of the low here, unless we see a sudden fake peace deal, because really all of these fake peace deals, I mean, the ceasefire was never real. No, the Iranians just wanted to make some money before the US pulled out of it, which they were expecting them to. The US was just hoping they could negotiate the victory they didn't win by bombing. No one was particularly sincere about it, and I think it's on the way out. But the question is, how many more false starts are we going to see before it fails? We shall see. I'm wondering about this retest of the low here, and I'm quite liking that. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys again on Sunday. All right, cheers.